Thanks for joining us on School Matters. I'm Joni Kopis, and today we're going to be talking to the new administrative team from Riverview Elementary School. So welcome to you both.
Thank you.
We'll start with you, Josh. You're the new principal, although you're not new to Riverview per se, but tell us a little bit about yourself.
So, Joni, I had the opportunity to teach and now be an administrator in the district that I grew up in, that I went to school in, from kindergarten through 12th grade. I graduated from Hamilton High back in 2007 and was actually a member of the Teacher Academy there and got to do some experiences in Hamilton in that program. Came back and student taught at Garfield, and then I got to teach for 4 years at Wilson, 8th grade. And then I was an administrator at Bridgeport, and last year I started at Riverview as an assistant, and now I'm fortunate enough to be the principal at Riverview. So.
Very good. So it's your second year, but first year as principal. And Jennifer, introduce yourself to us, please.
Yeah, Joni, this is my 11th year in education. I've been with the district the past 4 years. Prior to that, I was an intervention specialist for 7 years. I was at Bridgeport last year as the student and family support specialist, and I've moved over to Riverview as the assistant principal, and I'm very excited for the opportunity.
You guys actually worked together then at Bridgeport, right, when you were an assistant principal?
Absolutely.
We did.
Not to say that you stole her from Bridgeport, but you knew what she could do.
Yeah. So it's funny, she actually started getting her administrative degree when I worked with her that year at Bridgeport. And we kind of talked about the possibility of this ever happening, and then when it actually became a possibility, we were very excited.
Well, that's great. Well, well, it all benefits Riverview, so that's great.
Yep.
We're going to talk about various new programs and initiatives that you have, but one is actually in its second year, the Royal Bucks, started by Karen Spicer. So talk a little bit about that.
Absolutely. So Royal Bucks was actually an initiative that we started last year to improve hallway behavior. That was a focal area because we obviously wanted to decrease the amount of interruptions that classroom teachers would have when kids are going to art or music or lunch or anywhere else in the building, restroom breaks, things that I didn't know about till I came to elementary school. So,
right? Yes.
So the Royal Bucks is a way, it's actually a class reward instead of an individual student reward. And what it does is it gives other teachers the opportunity. So if I see your class walking down the hallway quietly in a straight line as they're supposed to, I would stop you as the teacher and announce to the class that I'm going to give you a Royal Buck. And we keep track of those on a large crown out in the hallway. Every single homeroom, it kind of moves up the crown as you get more tickets.
So it's a great visual for all
Yes.
to see.
Absolutely.
Yes. And the students really respond to it. I mean, our visitors, our substitute teachers, and parents that come in the building are very impressed at how great our kids are in the hallway, and I think it has a lot to do with that initiative.
And one each week, I think one royal, because it's the Riverview Royals, they compete with you on a minute to win it. Explain that, Jen.
Yes, so every week we have what we call the Royal of the Week. So with our Royal Bucks, we're focusing on classes. With the Royal of the Week, it's the individual student. So every week a student will be chosen in a classroom to be our Royal of the Week. And out of that pool of students, one lucky student gets to participate in a Minute to Win It game with me, which is broadcast on our Thursday news.
And give us some examples of that.
So one thing that we did for our first Minute to Win It challenge was the Cotton Ball Nose Challenge, where the student and I put some petroleum jelly on the edge of our nose, and we had to transfer cotton balls from one container to the next for a minute. So whoever got the most cotton balls in their container was the winner. That was one. Recently we used chopsticks. So we had the students and myself using chopsticks to transfer something, and we learned a little bit about what chopsticks are. So just some examples of some of the games.
And again, that's videotaped then for your daily announcements.
Every Thursday we do that segment. Yes.
And Josh, you mentioned too this Royal Bucks. It's a class initiative. It's not individual. So if little Josh isn't behaving, then his peers will say, you know, Josh, stop it because we're going to lose some bucks.
A lot of times that was the case, Joe.
Yeah.
Well. So yeah, basically it's a way of the students holding one another accountable, and it's really worked. I mean, and Karen Spicer, who's our student family support specialist, has just done an amazing job of maintaining it. of really making sure that the teachers stay excited about it. She's constantly sending out emails about it, going into the classrooms talking about it. She gets out into the hallways, and so do Jennifer and I. And when we do
With your
see,
bucks.
yep, with our bucks, walking around with our money. And just the students getting, even if they see another class in the hallway, if their class is behind them, if they see another class get that dollar, it's amazing to watch their expressions and how quickly they get quiet and stand straight. And
So you see the benefits, it's
yes.
working.
Absolutely. And
Things
the
are quiet.
Yeah, the way the staff support each other on that is amazing because it couldn't go far without all of our staff
Right.
participating.
Right.
And one of the things I really like about it, and that I think helps our staff get behind it, is they're very competitive. So our staff even competes with one another as far as how many dollars their class is accumulating. So
Well, and I
it's
do
really
like,
nice.
we mentioned earlier, the big crown, because that's a great visual, not only for the students and teachers to see, but also any visitors too, to say, you know, this is what the whole reasoning behind it is. And then you talked about the videos. We have to give a shout out to your teacher, I think Donna Cole does the video announcements.
Yep.
And how does she do that with students?
So she actually brings the students in every day into her office. She has a ELA, because she's a title teacher, a smaller room, and she brings the students who participate in the news into her office, and they film with her iPad every single day the news for the next morning.
Okay.
So they work a day ahead so that they can send out the link to all the teachers. The teachers stream those in their classrooms every morning, so it's all student led.
And who is it, like 5th, 6th graders, or do they apply to be on air?
So 5th and 6th graders both have the opportunity to do it. Anybody who's willing to do it, they bring them in, see if they're interested, and we get them kind of in a rotation to be on the news, and the kids just eat it up. They really love it. So.
And then you share it out on the website and what have you, so parents know what's going on too.
And she does an amazing job with the intros, cutting it, the music. I told her, you're going to have to show me how to do this.
That's
It's
right.
really nice.
And we've actually had some schools reach out for her to kind of train them. They keep asking me, like I know. I'm like, you need to ask Donna. She runs this.
She knows how to do it. Well, also another program is Learn Something New. So tell us how that program started and working out for you.
So one of the things we wanted to increase at Riverview was we wanted to get our families more involved with what the kids were actually learning at school. Our parents are good about getting involved in the after-school events. We wanted them to also know what kids were actually learning about in a typical school day. So one thing I started last year, and actually we got into a competition with Highland, which was a lot of fun, is the kids have a ticket. And it's part of our announcements as well. We get on and we teach them an interesting fact. This year the theme is actually, I went on a European vacation over the summer, and I actually videotaped myself at different areas just explaining the history behind certain sites that we were at, just because it's kind of fun for them to see that.
Right.
And what the kids do is they have to take one of these tickets that's in their class. They have to write down something that they learned throughout the week. It can be in any subject. And they take that home. They have to get it signed by somebody at home, bring it back to school, and they get their name put in a drawing each week for a prize. And it's a way for them to actually have those discussions with people at home about what they're learning at school.
Sort of like you mentioned, like dinner conversations. So, you know, because usually parents will say, what happened in school? Nothing, right? So this really forces them to actually have a conversation with the parents and actually tell them what is going on with school.
Yes.
So that's great. Okay, we talk about, you know, the behavioral not issues, but behavioral benefits that we have. Obviously, the district focus the last couple of years is math and reading. So let's talk about the math and reading programs that are going on.
Okay. So we actually have new math curriculum through Pearson, which has been great. Our teachers have really kind of taken this on, and we have some teachers who are even pushing it out to other teachers in our building that are kind of at the top level right now, and showing some others some ideas. And we also have Jim Mamer, who came to our district, who is kind of an expert in this curriculum, and he's been working with our 6th grade teacher and also our 5th grade teacher, math teacher, to kind of help them implement some of the lessons, because the curriculum he's working on is more for the middle school age level. So he's getting the 6th grade teacher prepared and also getting that 5th grade teacher prepared to transition those students into 6th grade. So he's been a great resource for our building. As far as reading, what's been a huge help to us is we started implementing the leveled literacy interventions last year. Our title, ESL staff, and our special ed staff has been implementing those lessons with small groups of students. And it's an intervention for students who maybe aren't at grade level in their reading ability. And our reading scores, I mean, improved across the board tremendously. So I really think it's been a testament to our Title I staff, our special ed staff, and our ESL staff has put in a lot of work to not only learn the program during the school year last year, but implement it in a way that was powerful and actually made an impact on our students.
And Jen, Josh had mentioned too about the teachers. They have to have the buy-in, and then they also sort of teach peer-to-peer. So if I'm not too sure, it's easier to go to a fellow teacher than maybe administrator or what have you. So you see the teachers getting the buy-in.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we have a couple coaches in-house with our literacy collaborative, Brandy Stout and also Katie Bretz, who are working with teachers in that manner to push out the program and learn from each other.
Perfect. Well, and I think that's important because, you know, if it's all top down, sometimes that doesn't go. But if the teachers have the buy-in and they understand, and it does sometimes take time to learn all this, but once you get some good results like you have, then that just entices, I think, gets them more excited, get things done.
Yes.
One program you talked about was, we talked about reading, your third grade reading results. There were a few students that had some test results that you really wanted to bring up. And so you had two teachers do some after school programming with those.
Yeah, so one of our Title I teachers, Melissa Durr, and also a third grade math teacher, Samantha Rodmaker, they were willing to start an after school reading intervention program for our students who in the fall assessment are third graders who hadn't passed the third grade reading guarantee, which obviously would mean if they didn't pass that, they possibly couldn't move on to fourth grade. And that hit us pretty hard, so we wanted to make sure we took care of those kids. We had 27 students in the program after the fall scores came out, and we worked with them from the time the fall test happened all the way till they took that spring test.
2 times a week, right, after school?
Tuesdays and Thursdays after school. And these two teachers, I mean, they created this curriculum from the ground up. I got to give them tons of credit. They were coming to me and saying, we're going to try this and we're going to try this. And I think a lot of the times we as administrators just need to get the heck out of the way and let our best people do what they do best, because these two instructors, I mean, are top notch. And it was kind of proven when we got out of the way, let them kind of build this thing from the ground up. And they used some of the resources that we got from the district, like Read Naturally, like Spire, like LLI. They used some of those resources in a way that fit the kids' best needs. And I'm proud to report that when we actually got the scores back from the spring test, all those kids but one passed, and the average growth was 37 points.
That's great.
On the scaled score. So, I mean, it was just incredible growth.
And the one you said that didn't pass had some attendance issues, which made, you know, they always say that's a direct correlation, or it can be a direct correlation.
And we did make sure to take attendance so we could monitor that effect as well. But the kids, for the most part, all showed up because they really enjoyed, specifically these two teachers were making it a good time for them.
Well, teaching can be fun, right?
Absolutely.
Yes. And you fed them, so that's always good. And then, you know, we do give a shout out to the teachers, but, you know, you also have to give a shout out to the students for coming.
Absolutely.
You know, it's after school twice a week. Here we go. And then the parents had to pick them up after school at 5:30 or 6.
And our parents did a great job. I mean, our teachers weren't waiting. The parents whose kids did stay for the after-school program picked them up on time, and also they gave them permission to stay there. So that's huge. That extra exposure of reading for those kids, 2 hours a week, was just something. I mean, you can't take that away as far as the impact.
And obviously it proved its worth. So talk about, I know we have, you know, obviously there's a lot of initials and that's what education's good for, but TBT, teacher-based teams. Talk about how that works at Riverview.
So The teacher-based teams, and we are part of the OIP process, the Ohio Improvement
Thank you.
Plan. So I could hit you with so many acronyms right now, but basically it's a way that we have data-driven instruction. We want to look at a pre-assessment of kids' skills prior to a unit, how they're doing on these specific skills, and then at the end of the unit, well, how did they improve on those specific skills? That's the whole goal behind the TBTs. We have a much better focus, I think, this year as a district too. I know Danielle Romine has put together some RTI framework that's really going to
Respond to intervention.
Yeah, sorry.
That's all right.
Yeah. So that's kind of given us a better focus for where we're going with those meetings. Before it was more the teachers were looking at writing as a whole, but they had to kind of create their own focus. Now with this RTI framework, we're looking at, okay, our group of students is specifically weak in this area. We can pinpoint the area that they're actually weak, spend time working on that skill over the TBT cycle during that actual unit, and then progress monitor again with those students. Now, how did they progress towards our goal? And there's some, did you want to talk about some, I know we had some other things going on with TBT as well.
Yeah, I was going to focus a little bit on our behavioral meetings that we talked about. That's something new that we started this year. Just really kind of following the TBT, we really want to focus on a team-based approach. We're looking to be more proactive instead of reactive. Hoping to put interventions in place, whether it's academically through the TBTs or behaviorally through these behavioral meetings that we started. And overall, it really is just a team proactive approach to academics and behaviors.
And you give time for the teachers to actually sit down and talk and say, you know,
Absolutely.
he's struggling in this class where he's fine here, or really get to know the individual student. But it gives them, you know, I don't want to say common planning time, but it sort of is, they really have some time to actually sit and talk to each other, because typically you're so busy doing and your own stuff that you don't have a time. So I think it allows the teachers to actually sit down with each other and really work and look at the individual child.
Absolutely. And really looking at what are we teaching the students, and what are we doing for those students that got it, and what are we doing for those students that maybe didn't get it yet.
So look at each individual child, where they are, where we need to push them.
Absolutely.
And then also you mentioned too, the vertical and horizontal alignment. Getting that not only with all, say, 5th graders talking together, all the teachers, but also 4th grader and 6th grade. So talk how that's working.
Okay. So one goal that we kind of outlined at the end of last year is that we'd like to increase the amount of vertical alignment that's taking place. Collaboration happens every Thursday morning with our teachers, and one thing that's always kind of been true is that it's always been at grade levels. So like if I'm a 3rd grade teacher, I would meet with 3rd grade teachers. And one thing our teachers thought would be beneficial is if they had the opportunity to meet with different grade levels at their department. Like if I'm a 3rd grade math teacher, I could meet with 4th and 5th and 6th grade math teachers as well, talk about how we're making connections vertically as well. Honestly, we had a larger collaboration like this where it was actually K through 2 and 3 through 6 by department. And the conversations that took place were just amazing, because what we kind of see, and this was the goal, and this was kind of the direction we were wanting to go in anyways, what we were seeing is that teachers in 1st grade per se, and this is just an example, might say, well, we're teaching it like this, and kindergarten used a different strategy. Now I know why the students are confused.
Why they may be struggling.
Maybe we should start teaching it the same way as the kindergarten teachers, and we won't have to spend as long reteaching a topic.
Right.
And those were the conversations we really wanted to have. We wanted to have a common language and common strategies that we use throughout our entire school, and then we're not wasting as much instructional time.
It's like an aha moment.
So
which may explain why, you know, he did so well in kindergarten, but struggling in 1st because it's a whole different way of thinking and teaching, and he's not used to that. So again, having the chance that the teachers actually sit down and talk to each other.
Yes.
So very
Yes.
good. Also, we need to do some shout outs. One which is Ann Kramer. She received the 2017 Ohio Council for Outstanding Teacher in Social Studies. So let's talk a little bit about Ann, even though she's embarrassed by it.
She is very embarrassed. If I talk too much, she might punch me. So Anne, I mean, phenomenal teacher. There's no other way to look at it. I think what's made such an impact on her students and why she's seeing the growth that she sees is she cares about kids. I mean, the kids see that she cares. She's tough on them. She's definitely very tough on them. And at first that puts some kids off, but by the end of the year they all love her because they can see how much that she's pushing them for a reason. And she just gets results. She got results as a 5th grade science teacher, the best in the district, and she got results as a 6th grade social studies teacher.
And and you're right, she's very humble, but she gave a lot of credit to the students that they were very competitive. And so I think they, again, peer to peer, but they sort of feed off of each other. And you're right, she got some phenomenal scores and good for her, and a nice award for her.
Absolutely.
So, and then we talked before in other programs about the state residency program. It's a 4-year, I believe, residency program because I guess your degree doesn't prove that you can teach. So the state in its infinite wisdom decided we needed this residency program. And the 3rd year, I think, is the toughest because you have to do videos and what have you. But of the top 100 scores in Ohio, 3 are from Riverview.
Absolutely. So just like you said, it's like we're doctors now. We have to do a residency. 3 of our teachers out of the top 100 were in the top 100, I should say. Tara Strong, Alyssa Montgomery, and Cassie Davis. So we're very proud of them. And obviously, I need to give credit as well to some of our district mentors because they do a lot of hard work. Debbie Dunk, Lori Pearson, Becky Bogus have worked very closely with a lot of our staff, and they still continue to do so. But big shout out to those 3 teachers and also to our district mentors for that accomplishment because that's huge.
Yeah, and you're right. Shout out to the mentors, and we've had them on the show before because they work. You know, it's okay. Your college teaches you about education, but sometimes it's the stuff they don't teach you, like how do you do classroom management, or how do I talk to this parent about this or whatever. So they're there, I think, as a comfort to them to say, you know, we're all in this together. You can do this, and again, they give them some direction for the residency program. So we're very fortunate to have them.
And shout out to the district as well for putting the money forth to have these people to teach our young teachers because this is a support that honestly teachers from other districts don't have. And it's a support that's much needed and that people really appreciate when they come to our district.
And it works out well. One partnership you have, last year you started a pilot program with St. Joe's. So explain a little bit about that.
So St. Joe's Orphanage actually does therapy services in our building. It was their first time. It was a first for them too, so it was kind of a learning experience for everybody. We have in-school therapy and also case management. We also have what's called a day treatment program where we spend time teaching kids social skills, behavioral interventions, and it's the best part about the program, and I can't say this enough, is it's housed in our building. Missy Cates, who's our school-based therapist, and Rhonda Sneed, who is our case manager, they actually have offices in our building. They don't.
So it makes it easier for parents to come in, right? Transportation's not an issue.
Yeah, and
student and the parent are there.
Absolutely, and they build a relationship with our students because of that. They build a relationship with our teachers, whereas in outside agencies don't really have the good fortune of being able to work with our teachers directly. St. Joe's
Which could be a disconnect, right?
Absolutely,
yes.
Yeah, and our teachers honestly don't reach out to the outside agencies as much because it's not a familiar face.
Right.
Where they see Rhonda and Missy in our building every day and they're just one of the staff. So they're able to work very closely with our teachers and say, this is what I worked on with this child. We should try these things in the classroom and we'll see more success. Like I said, it was definitely a growing process last year. it's grown into something that I honestly couldn't see myself doing without now that it's in our
Right.
building.
But again, it's bringing everybody to the table to talk about little Josh and get him on the right path.
Yeah, it's that team approach, and it's so powerful.
Right.
So powerful.
Well, it sounds like, Riverview's off to a great start this school year, so we're excited that you shared your successes with us, both obviously academics, but also some staff and student successes, so we thank you guys for that.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much, Joni.
Thank you very much.
And we thank you for joining us on School Matters. We'll see you next time.